Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet and previewing tonight's games. Just three games tonight in the National Hockey League, and they're well spread out. So if you wanted to watch all the hockey, you can. So it's interesting to see as Four Nations gets closer. So Quinn Hughes has held out for the Canucks the last couple of games. He's dealing with some kind of injury. Been a lot of injuries for players who are on these Four Nation rosters. And if Sidney Crosby doesn't play in the Four Nations tournament, the commercials are going to change from the one that's on every 10 seconds now to Gary Bettman saying, "We'd really like for you to watch." I'm kidding. People are going to watch anyways, but without Crosby, it would definitely take something out of it. And right now, he's being checked out for an upper body injury. So we don't have a timeline on Crosby at the time I'm recording this. Doesn't sound great. He collided last night with Eric Halla and Luke Hughes of the New Jersey Devils. One of those freak things that happens. Seemed like he injured his arm. So shoulder, maybe. Shoulders normally aren't short-term injuries. They can be. They absolutely can be. But remember, what we're talking about here is a tournament that starts in less than a week. And so it doesn't have to be a long-term injury for it to take him out of Four Nations. And that definitely would... I think that would have an effect on how many people are watching, at least on some level. Because what were they selling this tournament on? It was a chance to finally see Crosby and McDavid playing together for Team Canada. And now that doesn't look like it's going to happen. At least I don't think so, because they're checking him out for an upper body injury. And teams would have the right to say, we're going to hold the player out because they're hurt. That's always been the thing when it comes to any kind of tournament. So we'll see what happens with Crosby. But it's possible that he ends up missing the Four Nations tournament. Thatcher Demko. So a shutout for him last night against Colorado. Shutout he almost had against Colorado earlier in the season as well, of course. I guess he just has a really good time against Colorado. But it definitely feels like there's a different air, a different feeling with the Canucks over the last week. I know that the trading of JT Miller, as much as people have talked about it, I think it just takes that away. The Canucks can just go out and play hockey. They don't have to answer questions on this anymore. And Marcus Pettersson's look good. Heedle's look good. And Drew O'Connor's given him a little bit of speed and something different as well. And now, if Demko's rounding into form, I kind of like the Canucks' chances of making the playoffs. Yep, that quick the turnaround takes place. So, yeah, Demko's playing well. We'll see if that continues to be the case. He will be the starter, of course, because while Lankinen's played well this season, I'm not going to say he hasn't, because that would be a lie. The reality is if this team's going to get into the playoffs, and if they're going to do anything in the playoffs, they're very likely going to need Demko to be their starter for that to take place. Alex Ovechkin, 878 goals with the one last night. He's 16 behind Wayne. So he is 16 away from tying the record, 17 away from breaking it. It is something that we're going to be talking about from now until the end of the season. So I'm going to apologize to fans who are like, we don't want to hear about this all the time. Sorry, hockey fans, you're going to hear about it every time he gets a goal. There's going to be a lot of talk about how many of them this year are empty netters, but you know what? He scored so many beautiful goals throughout his career that, he's tacking on a lot of empty netters right now, but he is still one of the best or the best goal scorer in history. And once he's past that mark of Wayne Gretzky's, I will absolutely be doing a video and talking about the best goal scorers in NHL history and trying to make an argument for various. So think like Maurice Richard, Boom Boom Geoffrion, Mike Bossy, Gretzky, Lemieux, Ovechkin, that kind of thing. And just I'd put together some numbers and some arguments for or against any of them. And so, yeah, look forward to that. Hinostroza claimed on waivers by Minnesota. Minnesota's had a lot of injury problems. Jacob Lauko is back on the injured reserve. So since they're short of forward, they claim Hinostroza from Nashville. I've always been a big Vinny Hinostroza fan. So hopefully he does well in Minnesota and earns himself a permanent spot there. At the very least, they deal with so many injuries so regularly, he shouldn't have a problem having a job there. And I do think he can be useful. I would say in a third-line role, he can be useful. So fingers crossed that he is that for the Minnesota Wild for however long they need him. I got a kick out of this on the formerly known as Twitter, the Buffalo Sabres, posting the following. Cousins, Thompson, Malenstein, Samuelson, and Luukkonen all missed practice due to injury. So Buffalo, who have been winning recently, a lot of injuries. The one thing that I wonder is, so you're keeping guys out of practice, they're kind of banged up. How many of these guys might be on the trade market? So that's one thing to keep in mind with Buffalo is how many guys might they be like, he's a little banged up. maybe we don't want to play him. And Cousins is the one I'm thinking of, that maybe you hold him out of things like an optional practice. Maybe you hold guys out of games here and there because you don't want them getting hurt. Could Samuelson be on the block? That kind of thing, right? The Buffalo Sabres have some decisions to make on the blue line. Byram's the one that's most likely to get moved. He wasn't kept out of practice today. So, yeah, the Sabres winning enough games that if you want to have hope, I think you can. I think you should. And all the best with that hope. I'm not even going to cut that down. I think having hope for your team is great. And I would be very, very happy if the Buffalo Sabres did what seemingly is impossible right now and actually rallied to make the playoffs. But it does feel like that's impossible. So we got 3 games tonight in the National Hockey League. So we'll go ahead and we'll dive into that. The Boston Bruins are in New York against the Rangers. These teams met each other not too long ago. Boston won that game. We'll see what happens in this one. Boston's 27-22-6. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They did beat Minnesota last night. The Rangers 25-23-4 overall. They're 5-3-2 in their last 10 games. So this will be an interesting one. I do kind of like the Rangers in this one. Boston's in the second half of a back-to-back. I do think the Rangers are starting to turn in the right direction again. They've done it before this season. I think they're doing it again. We'll see if they can keep that up. At 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, the Oilers in Chicago. So the Oilers are on the second half of a back-to-back. Chicago's had a bit of a rest, so we'll see how that affects this game. The Oilers 33-16-4 overall. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. Chicago 16-31-5 overall. They're 2-5-3 in their last 10. So it's not a great record, but out of their last 10 games, 5 of them have been regulation losses, meaning the other 5 games they at least put up a fight. So we'll see if they put up a fight against the Oilers this evening. Also keeping in mind, I'm going to go on a limb and say that because these are 2.5 hours apart, and this is a late start for Chicago. That is a late start for Chicago, that this is a TNT doubleheader. So that means that this 9:30 start is actually going to be more like 9:45, about 9:50. The scheduling with TNT is just, it's insane. And I've said this before in previous seasons, but it feels like if you are in a time zone that's not Pacific or Eastern, you kind of get screwed over by scheduling, where your games start kind of late. And so, yeah, 9:30 Eastern starts kind of late for Chicago, so we'll see if that affects the game at all. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific start between Montreal and LA. So the Montreal Canadiens on the second half of a back-to-back go into LA to play against a Kings team that have been excellent at home this season. Montreal's 25-23-5 overall. They're 4-5-1 in their last 10 games. LA 27-17-8 overall. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10 games. So the Kings are trying to get things together. I think this is one the Kings should win, but Montreal, desperate for some points in that Eastern race. Not saying LA isn't. I'm just saying this game could be an intense one, and both teams are going to have to bring their A game if they want to get the 2 points tonight. So let me know your picks in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. I've got it up to 13 degrees in here. 13 degrees Celsius. I think that's like around 50 degrees Fahrenheit in here, 50, 52, somewhere like that. It's about as warm as it's going to get in here today, but it's just for my own reasons I had to come in here today. But there will be videos on this set as well as videos on the other set between now and when I leave on Sunday morning. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I will talk to you again soon.